And it's when people find out that I was coming, and people always talk to me about the goal, you know, the Newcastle goal, so it's that you mentioned. Yeah. And people say, did he do it on purpose? It's not whether he done it on purpose, it's more of the reaction to how did it happen, Dennis? Because like once Perez passed it to you, what happened? Because I've never seen it before, I've never seen it again. What happened?
Yeah, for me, I had one thing on my mind. I wanted to go to the goal.
Yeah.
And to be fair, the pass of Robert wasn't a good pass. It was behind me a little bit. And I was still trying to go that way. So I turned my body a little bit and I flicked it with my left. But because I turned my body was going
to the
already
right.
that way.
Yeah.
So it would have been, in my mind, it would have been strange or not doable to turn back again.
Way. Yeah.
And I knew with the spin of the ball, it would come back to my right anyway if I turned that way. And after that, a few things came together. I had to have contact with Dabisas.
I think it might have been,
contact and little push, and then the ball came automatically to my right, of course, because it spun. And then you have to pick the corner, which is, well, as you know, the far corner is wider. Yeah. It only takes a little bit of movement with your body.
Did you realise the kind of goal you scored then? Because I remember at home I was watching it.
No.
You didn't even realise?
No, I didn't realise because, and a lot of, so many people came to me and said, did you mean it? Exactly what you said. Did you mean it? Did you mean it? And I said, I don't understand the question. Did you mean the move? So then after 2 days, was the first time I watched it back on telly. Mm-hmm. And then I realized, okay, I understand
why they're asking.
Yeah, why they're asking the question. But it's
so Dennis, what I'm getting now from you is if the pass was better, you probably wouldn't have done that move.
True. Yeah, true. You just adjust yourself to what's happening, and the ball came behind me, and I wanted to go that way, so I could control the ball, but then the attack was gone. It was dead. So I wanted to keep it moving, and control it. And in the end, it looked good, of course.
But amazing.
but for me, there was only one thing on my mind. I played 1-against-1. I want to go as fast as possible to the goal.
What was it like when Sol came? And you know,
Sol was because. I remember what we tried with Sol, building up to the game at Spurs.
Yeah.
Every time he touched the ball in training, we started booing him. We just started booing him. So first he was, what are you doing? No, you get used to it. No way. So I remember because in the warm-up of a game.
Yeah.
We were always going from sideline to sideline, and Sol used to join me.
Yeah.
But that was the only game I thought, I don't want to walk next to him. I was scared. So the whistling and the shouting and all the signs they held, and he was just being Sol, just running like nothing bothers me. And
he had a kind of dignity about him, which was quite admirable, but I love that. If I was a trainer, I would have done the same. I'd have booed him all the time. That was a really good one.
We beat Middlesbrough, I think, 5-0. If I remember well, Kanu scored. No, not Kanu scored 1. Dennis Bergkamp scored 2. Overmars scored 2. Something like that. I stayed on the bench. Didn't come on.
This is your first season?
Yeah, stayed on the bench. Didn't come on. Dennis Bergkamp. Davor Suker was also on the... I think Suker came on and scored. Whatever, 5-0. Mm-hmm. Davor Suker, Janko Kanu, Dennis Bergkamp, Mark Overmars. And I didn't come on. And we won 5-0, so I'm like, what am I supposed to do with that one? I always remember when back in the dressing room, nobody looked at me. You know how it is. Nobody cared, we won. Nobody cared about me. You didn't participate. You can't make us win. What shall I care about you? People only care about you when you can. It's a team sport, unfortunately. You know, and I know we can win together. I'm gonna help you. If not, they don't look at you. Going back in the dressing room, I had to go back to St. Albans. So I looked at them, I was like, man, I didn't even play. How am I going to ask anyone to bring me back to that hotel that I'm supposed to be back when they all live in London? So I went out. I don't know if you know Highbury. I went out straight in the street on Alvinal Road. I had my Arsenal tracksuit with my bag. And I went to the subway to go to take the Thames. Yeah, and I went back to St. Albans.
You took the subway back?
Yeah, I did at the time. Like, it looked like I was a fan.
Did anyone say anything to you at that
People
time?
were like looking at me, but it looked like I was a fan, to be fair, and I was rubbish anyway, so I wasn't playing well. I wasn't there. We just won 5, they didn't see my name on the board. I wasn't, I didn't do anything yet. Anyway, I go back, and on the train I'm thinking, how can I play? Like, how can I play? How am I going to put Dennis Bergkamp, Nyongo Kanu, Davor Shuker, or whoever on the bench? Like, how? How am I going to do that? So I went back home to the hotel, wherever I was. And I started to try to beat all of them at everything that they were doing. Everything. So Dennis Bergkamp used to arrive first in training. So this guy won everything already, player of the season. He's there every morning before me. Am I missing a point? He's doing everything, the drills, he does them to the T. Like, sometime I will fuck around, ball comes, right foot, left foot, right foot, left foot. The 9th time you try to flick one, turn around and flick it. Dennis Bergkamp, control pass. I'm looking at him, I'm like, okay. Scores a goal, I used to score 2 and look at him. So then he looks at me back and he scores, and I have to score. Then, I was trying to match them in everything that they were doing. Then after you have to deliver on the field, you have to take that free kick also away from Dennis Bergkamp. You have to take the penalty away from Dennis Bergkamp. You have to take the keys away from Dennis Bergkamp. How do you do that? From not coming on the field, how do you do that? You never won there. He won. He's got there. How do you move that guy? So man, I woke up early every morning and I had to show him the best respect I could pay the guy is show him I was better than him every day in training. The way you eat your salad, I'm gonna eat that better than you. Yeah, the way you walk, I'm gonna walk better than you. You look at me, I'm gonna look at you better than you look at me. Then he gave me the key. It took a little while, but then he gave me the key.
And what was that moment? When did you know he gave you the key?
Well, you're taking free kicks. The ball was rolling, nobody goes and get it. Sometimes they used to bring you the ball. I know, bring you the ball. But then it took 2.5 years, 3 years. But I was showing him that he could give me the key every day in training. Like he scores 1, I said to you, I used to score 2. And on walking past him, I used to look at him like this. But this is, I always said, besides the freaks, Dennis Bergkamp is the best player that I played with for that. First in training, last. Drills, the same way. His vision, the way he used to see the game. And he was nasty. That's the thing I used to love about him. He was nasty. Dennis was nasty as hell. Elbow in the face, stepping on your foot. He was nasty. I don't know if it's right to say that, but I like that part also about him. He used to look after himself.
The fella is an absolute star, Bergkamp, isn't he?
Do you know that he almost had to be dragged back into the limelight because he doesn't really enjoy, and I think he never really wanted to. We never want to finish, do we, as players? And it kind of reminds him of what he now can't do, I suppose. He was the master of the ball in everything he did on the pitch, perfectionist. He was tough, his technique, great company to be with from day to day. He never changed. He was exactly the same person that left the club that came in on the first day. It was a pleasure, fun to be around, great sense of humour. I sat opposite him on the bus for 8 years. This is so professional in how he led his life. He was a great role model. His technique, though, Jim, I mean, honestly, he knew everything a ball could do, the spin, what it was capable of, such balance, like a ballerina. left foot, right foot. He wasn't favouring anything. We scored the goals he used to score in training. Honestly, we people would just stop. A trill of applause for a piece of brilliance, a trick or a goal. Honestly, I know they
forget Ian Wright as well. He spoke brilliantly last night as well about him.
Well, they all have to take a bow when this fella's around because they all benefited from him. Ian was an amazing finisher as well, of course. I mean, and Henry, what a player! Henry's probably the only player that gets ahead of him in terms of his quality and ability, because Henry was just a flying machine, just unstoppable.
And he was named, I didn't know it, Simon, he was named after Dennis Law, who sadly we lost just the other day, but and he spoke about that. He's an unusual mixture of things, Dennis Bergkamp.
He's tough, Jim.
He doesn't like people telling him just how brilliant he was, but he damn well was. He was fabulous.
Yeah, he was a top player, wasn't he?
Yeah.
They all ran after his shirt in every game. The opposition. In the tunnel before the game, they were asking for his shirt.
A lot of people look back on Bruce Rioch's time at Arsenal as a very difficult time, but Bruce Rioch signed him. And it's that interesting vision, an interesting change of direction, because at that time, Italian football was the lure. And he came from Italian football to English football at a time where Arsenal weren't the flamboyant side and the brilliant side.
But taking nothing away from it, I think Danny Fisman and David Dean, that was kind of a marquee signings for him and David Platt.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're going in a different direction. And Dennis definitely took the club in a different direction. And then, of course, Arsene Wenger really kind of brought all of that talent out. It was a remarkable set of players. When you look back in that dressing room, Jim, we're talking now about, can Arsenal be title winners? The Vieiras, the Perez's, and now Overmars. Petit, you've had him in the studio, Sol Campbell, Ashley Cole. Some wonderful talents.
Yeah, and strangely had this fear of flying. Well, many people do, but he had this fear of flying. Does that in any way lead to a question like, would Arsenal have won more had he not had that fear of flying? If Dennis had been around in certain games.
He was involved in a very difficult flight, I think, playing in the World Cup in America, and there was nearly a major disaster, and I think he thought it was very difficult to get back in an aircraft after that. We understood and respected that. We maybe were without him on occasions. It was tricky to have to keep, but we had other able replacements in Canu, didn't we? And Wiltord, who came in. So no, but it's not ideal, but we understood the problem that he had.
Sure.
Well, I've gone for a player that was the best player I ever played with by a million miles, and I didn't think a professional footballer could be that good, was Dennis Bergkamp. He was unbelievable. I had a good brain. I could see things on a football pitch. I had good vision. I'd never seen anything like this. He had eyes in the back of his head. His touch was unbelievable. He was cool as ice, and he had a bit of a streak in him as well.
Oh, did he?
Oh, he could look after himself. There's no doubt. Oh, he could look after himself. I was one of them that someone, he would put himself about. He could do that. He had that bit about him. But you ask anybody who played with him, all the forwards all wanted to play with him. You talk to Thierry Henry would say Dennis Bergkamp. Ian Wright, Dennis Bergkamp. You just made a run, he would find you. He just had everything. He had the shortest backlift I've ever seen on a shot. He could hit a ball from 25, 30 yards and his foot would hardly move. Some people, you have to wind it up and then hit it. He would literally just pull his foot back and bang, he'd hit it. Some of the goals, people go, the goal against Leicester, when he gets the hat-trick at Leicester, and people go, oh, yeah, that was Matty Elliott. Matty Elliott was a good defender, very good defender, and he does that. And people go, oh, yeah, but it was Leicester and so. Leicester were a good team in them days. He was a good defender. But then he goes and does it in the World Cup against Argentina in the World Cup. He does it. That's what it's about for me. And I've gone with him as number one because I ain't sure if Henry would have been that great with Bergkamp's pace. That was my only reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because when I look at Henry, you would say he was electric. He was cool at finishing, but his pace got him away from players to get into that position. To he wasn't an Ian Wright's goal scorer. Ian Wright was, or a Gary Lineker or Alan Shearer. They were centre forward goal scorers. He was someone who was not really going to get 20 goals in the 6-yard box. Do you know what I mean? That weren't his game. So that was the only reason I've picked Dennis Bergkamp. Thinking if you both give him the same pace, who would be the best? And that's why I've just gone with him. And I hope I'm hopefully not disrespecting Thierry Henry because he was unbelievable. But other people watch this and go, oh, well, you picked 2 Arsenal players. You know, I've got to pick the number one because I played with him and he was unbelievable.
I mean, with Bergkamp, obviously, apart from his all-round brilliance, you know, the catalogue of goals, I think the one that a lot of people would always talk about is the goal against Newcastle, which I think was voted as the greatest ever Premier League goal, and yet there's still a debate about whether he meant it or not.
I've seen that in training enough times. I've seen that in training, and it's not just a flick. It's the way he holds off the defender. The defender's a big lad. He's a big centre half, and he brushes him off and then has the coolness to just slide it in the corner. You know, a lot of people there, if you picture, doing that bit of skill would have been so excited that they would have smashed the ball. You know, they would have thought, oh my God, this could be unreal. And they would have hit it as hard as they could. And it might have hit the goalkeeper or hit the post. But he was as cool as ice, just rolled it in the corner. I mean, yeah, I couldn't talk highly enough of him, but definitely the best player I ever played with and most intelligent, yeah. And when you talk about footballers are different to players. You have good players, but then you have good footballers. You know, Dennis Bergkamp could hit 60-yard balls, you know, spray a ball all over a football pitch. You know, you put something up and say, hit that, have 50 goes and hit that. He'd hit that a lorry load of times. Do you know what I mean? They're different players to like a Haaland who maybe not be able to do that, but will score you 100 goals in just over 2 seasons, which, you know, no one's ever going to do.
Dennis Bergkamp arrived, who was just an absolute magician, Dennis Bergkamp.
What was it like when Dennis first arrived in training and you just got the glimpse of this guy?
Well, if Dennis Bergkamp played in the snow, he wouldn't leave any footprints. You know, that's how good he was. He used to float. He was just ridiculous, Dennis's touch. And if you watch his 100 goals for Arsenal, or over his career, Dennis Bergkamp's best goals, some of the goals are just out of this world. They really were.